Hi folks, Dr. P here. This is Math 20-2 Quadratic Equations, Topic 5, Example 1 on page 44 in your workbook. In this example, we're asked to solve a quadratic equation by finding the x-intercepts of the corresponding quadratic function. So we're going to be solving these graphically, which means we're going to graph it using our graphing calculator. And then we're going to use the graphing calculator to find the x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts are the locations where the graph is crossing the x-axis. So let's look at this first example here. We're going to pull up our graphing calculator. We press y equals, and we're going to graph this. So it's going to be x squared minus x minus 6. Press graph. There's our quadratic equation. The x-intercepts are the x-coordinates where this graph is crossing the x-axis. So these 2 points right here. And our graphing calculator can help us find those points by pressing second and trace. And then we're looking for option number 2. So 0 means that the y-coordinate is 0, which it is at the x-intercept. On the x-axis, the y-coordinate is 0. So we're choosing option 2. And then it says left bound. What we want to do is we want to move this little blinking cursor that I'm pointing to the left of one of the x-intercepts. We can choose which of the x-intercepts which we are finding first, but the bottom line is we have to do this twice. The calculator is only able to find one x-intercept at a time. So I'm going to start by looking for or finding the left x-intercept, the one I'm pointing to here. I'm going to use my arrow keys on my calculator to move this cursor. In this case, I would have to move it to the left. As I'm pressing the left arrow key, we can see the cursor is moving left and up along the graph. And as I pass the x-axis, at this point here, for example, or anywhere along this segment of this graph here, this point is to the left of this x-intercept. So this will do. I press enter. Now it says right bound. So now we want to move this cursor to the right of the x-intercept. So somewhere down here. We don't want to move it too far away from the x-intercept because here we do have 2 x-intercepts and we can confuse the calculator. So essentially what we're telling the calculator is that the x-intercept is between these 2 points, somewhere between these 2 points. Then after I press enter, it says guess. We just press enter again. And here is our x-intercept. So at the x-intercept, the y-coordinate is 0 and the x-coordinate at this x-intercept is -2. So we can say that our x1 equals -2. Then we have to go ahead and find the second x-intercept. So we're going to repeat this process. So I go second, trace, second option. Now I have to move the cursor to the left, but I want to be closer to this x-intercept that I'm looking for. So somewhere over here, right bound. Now we're moving it over here, somewhere to the right of this x-intercept. Enter. Enter, and our second x-intercept is at x equals to 3. And now we want to graph this. So what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to place these 2 points. So the first x-intercept is at -2, so it's somewhere over here. The second one is +3. Okay, and this particular quadratic function opens up. Right? It's going to be going something like this. And it goes up like that. Now the question is, how do I join these 2 lines? If I take a look at my graph, well, what I really would like to know is what is the coordinate down there at the minimum. I can use my calculator to find that coordinate as well. That's called the vertex. So I'm going to go second, trace. I have a minimum here, so I choose option 3. Left bound. So now again, we want to tell the calculator between 2 limits between which the minimum is. So that will be left bound of the minimum. Right bound, I move it to the right of the minimum, somewhere over here. And there we go. So the 0.49999 is just a round off error. We just rounded up to 0.5. So the x coordinate at the minimum is 0.5. The y coordinate is negative 6.25. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be somewhere around there. Now I can just join those lines, something like that. Let's have a look at B as well. We're going to repeat the same process here. So I'm going to pull up my calculator. And so now, before I graph the next function here, I would have to clean out, remove this function here. I can just press clear if I want to. Something I often do is I just reset the calculator. That way everything is reset and everything is deleted and I sort of start from scratch. So I'm actually going to reset it here. And in case you're not sure how to reset these calculators, this is good practice. We're going to go second. We're going to go the plus sign here, choose option 7, option 1, option 2. And there it's reset. And you will be asked to do this on a test. You will be asked to do this on a diploma down the road. So it's a good habit to get into. We're going to graph the following quadratic function. So negative 0.2x squared. Notice that for the negative symbol here, the negative 0.2, the negative symbol, I use this button down here. The negative symbol on these calculators, it is not the same symbol as the minus sign. Right? If you use the minus sign here, you're going to get an error. And then plus 2.1x plus 3.6. Press graph. There we go. And now what we can notice here is that we can't actually see that second x-intercept. This quadratic function is parabola is coming down here, but we cannot see where it's crossing the x-axis. So we have to adjust our window settings. And specifically, we have to increase the x max. So if I press window, I'm going to go down to x max. Instead of 10, choose 20 perhaps. I'm going to graph it again. And now I can see both x-intercepts. So now we're going to find them. I'm going to go second, trace, option 2. I'm looking for the left x-intercept first. So moving this cursor here to the left, so it ends up to the left of that x-intercept, somewhere over here. Enter to the right, somewhere over there. So my first x-intercept is, guess one more time, sorry. There we go. My first x-intercept is negative 1.5. So x1 is negative 1.5. And then we have to go ahead and find the second x-intercept. We're going to repeat the process. Option 2. Now we have to move this cursor closer to that other x-intercept, but still to the left of it. Coming down here, so we can put it somewhere over there. Enter. Now we want to move it to the right, over there. And our second x-intercept is at x equals 12. Now I'm going to sketch it out here. There's our x-axis, and because we changed the x-max, the y-axis wasn't entirely centered. And our x-intercepts is at negative 1, and 12 is going to be somewhere over here. This quadratic function opens down, and I'm just going to eyeball the maximum over here. It's going to be somewhere over here. Then I can go ahead and that was really poor. Let's try again. Yeah, these are sketches, so that's good enough. That's a wrap. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and may the math be with you. See ya.